Mr. President, I hope all is well and I come in peace. But I just want to say we are tired, man.
KAZORA, Mr. President, please help us. Now, the other thing is the commuter rails. There should be like commuter rails, sort of like, there's sitting on a train, but it's more or less like train systems. Because the whole idea is we want to transport mass groups of people from one place to another. Welcome back, guys. You know, these days, every time I come to work, I must come with a notebook and be able to talk to you with facts. So, KAZORA is talking to the president today. You know, these days, we have phones, eh? So a person can easily get their phones and they send the message to whichever person they want to talk to online. Now, the other day, Lucy spoke to the European Union and he made quite some very good points and also some ridiculous ones. But yeah, ultimately, they were very good points and the video was good. Today, KAZORA is talking to the president of Uganda, telling him about his problems. Dude is tired. Like, KAZORA is tired. He is talking to the president, and I've noted a few things that I feel like could be the solution to his problem. But let's first watch him, and then again, we go into like only 3 things that I think could be the solution to KAZORA's problem of traffic. Let's go.
Mr. President, I hope all is well and I come in peace. But I just want to say we are tired, man. And you know what really pisses me off is the fact that I can see my neighbors in traffic for all these hours and everybody is comfortable. They can't even stop and say, but this is too much. You leave home, you wake up at 5 and leave at 6 a.m. and you drop off a kid in Chisasi, which is like 7 kilometers from your home, and then another 10 to town. 6, 7, 8, 9. You get to town. You've left Chira at 6 a.m. and you get to town at 9. I mean, how can you have a population that is in discomfort? Even when we talk about the real estate economics and we say the town has moved on from being monocentric to policy. People can't afford to be near CBD, like, you know, Kololo, the Naguru. Those are expensive places. We can't afford rent there. We can't afford to buy. So we move on. The polycentrics, we move on to Chira, Buate, Bulindo. We go far away. And sometimes even we can afford Naguru, but you have 1 bedroom, which is small. So you want to have a bigger space and all that. But we know it will come at a cost, which is traffic jam. But it can't be 4 hours. Look at our roads in Chira. They've not been fixed. They've been fixing them for how long? 2 years ago, I went to UNO. I said, what's going on? Why isn't this road being done? They said, oh, some 77 landlords don't want to be compensated, but they want more than 300 million. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Mumaronda will be, I don't know, Semuji's opposition. Now we have another roof raff of an MP. I just don't understand. Transport is key. You can't have a population that is in discomfort. Bosses here now, you know, you have to clock in at 8 and then out at 5 p.m. So at lunchtime, you go to parking lots, people are sleeping because they don't have enough time, because you're going to spend 3 hours, 4 hours in traffic getting to town. Transport was given, take you back to history. These, you know, white people colonized us because they had horses. A horse was very important for the Ottoman Empire. You know, a horse can cover, you know, a horse can fight 200 men. That's why here Africans, we had lions, you can't domesticate it, it will eat you. They had horses, they had to move. Transport was key back then when they conquered the water. But here, 2026, you have to 4 hours for 17 kilometers. I mean, what's going on? What's going on, man? Can all roads be fixed? When are they going to be done? God damn it. You can't be in jam all this 4 hours. And then now we have to go back at 4:30. If you don't go back at 4:30, if you don't leave, you're going to get back at Chira at 10 p.m. That's why there are so many divorces, by the way, in Chira. Go to the Chira court now. Go to the magistrate and ask, Mr. President, about 74 people file for divorce, couples in Chira. 74 weekly, they file for divorce. And you know why? Because of traffic jam. Yeah, Last night, you can't go home. You just sit in the traffic. Let me just sit in this car. Kafunda, before you know it, it's 1. Madam is complaining. The next day, she's filing for divorce. Mr. President, I'm telling you this. Please, if you think I'm kidding, you come to my house tomorrow, my Meritor Road, JK Close. Let's leave at 6 together, and you'll see what time we'll get to town. Even if you try to, it's impossible, because people, you don't know jam. People around you do not know jam. They're all in we. Oh, God. Mr. President, do these contractors of roads have time limit, do have targets, or they just fix and even up to 2031 they'll be fixing? Mr. President, please help us.
KAZORA, Mr. President, please help us. But I don't think this traffic issue can be fixed in a single day. I've put down 3 things that can probably help to fix traffic. I'm not like the expert in this, but these are like common things, and you can also go research about them and probably find them. So, what is the problem we are fixing? Because the whole idea is to help transport mass groups of people from all these areas outside Kampala to Kampala. They go to their workplaces, and then later on in the evening, transport the same mass group of people, of course, in different hours of travel. Because even in the morning, it's like in different hours of travel. But at the end of the day, the whole idea is to transport these mass groups of people. White people understood this. In Uganda, it's more of like, let's just put roads where people can pass. And it's a great thing. The roads are there. But then again, the problem comes in when very many different people have cars, and all of these cars have to use these roads. And there is no other way. Taxis must use the same road. Probably a few buses that are there must use the same roads. And motokazi obuyonjo, like personal cars, should also use the same roads. Now, which creates a whole conundrum of a problem whereby one person is in a car, or maybe 2 people are in a car and they are going to a specific place, instead of having maybe, let me say, 35 people in one car going to the same place, you understand, and not have like very many cars. Anyway, let's get into it. The first thing is the government should create a mass transit system. And when I'm talking about a mass transit system, it should come in either rapid buses, and these rapid buses should only travel onto their own roads. Now, I've drawn in my not very good drawing, like you can see here. Now, you see that circle called Kampala. It has roads in there. Now, the roads in there are only transported, like the people who can only use those roads are people with cars. Now, you see the circle within Kampala. You see the highways that have crisscrosses within them. Now, these crisscrosses within them are roads that are only constructed to join Kampala to other areas within Wakiso. The bigger area is called Wakiso now. Now, these highways would only be constructed. Now, you see the small roads besides them? Now, those are the roads we have today. Now, these big highways could only be constructed. People who pay for them, like the people who own cars and they want to enter Kampala very early, they pay for them. And buses is it transporting a mass groups of people to enter Kampala. That's the only way you can solve this problem from like the mass transit system. But these roads, to build them, it could take a while, because I'm thinking like, you see the Ginger Road, Kampala Ginger Road. Now, if you go to Kenya, there is what they have what they call Nairobi Mombasa Road. Now, that Nairobi Mombasa Road, it was constructed only for one reason: to solve the issue of traffic in Nairobi. I have a friend who stays there, and they tell me that they used to spend 3 hours in traffic just from Nairobi to, let me say, if you're going to the airport, or you're going to Syokimau, or you're going to any place that is from Nairobi, they could spend 3 hours in traffic. Can you imagine that? Now, that road was constructed. Now they spend like an hour, if like an hour at most. Why? Because the road was fixed, and they put a flyover, which I believe should be put on Ginger Road, Kampala Road. They should put like a real long, sort of like a flyover, to help people who have their 5,000 and they want to get home early. They pay and they get home. Now, the other thing is the commuter rails. There should be like commuter rails, sort of like, is there's sitting on a train, but it's more or less like train systems. Because the whole idea is we want to transport mass groups of people from one place to another. Nti zino commuter rails ziba zijja ku like okola road system nga yetolola Kampala bweti. It picks people from like all around Wakiso ababa bajja mu Kampala, and you bring them closer to Kampala. And these commuter rails, they don't enter within the metropolitan. They only end at the entrance of Kampala. It drops off people, and then a very good drone system that can transport people from the edges of Kampala then transports them inside the what? Inside the city. Now, all of these roads should be connected in a way. And people who transport, let me say taxis now, taxis that operate within the central CBD, these taxis need to be regulated. That if your duty is to transport people from point A to point B, and that's it. That's your route. You don't go anywhere else. But all of these things come, of course, with organization. I know they cannot just like, you cannot just wake up in the morning and and you have these Ugandans organized. Now, the third thing is the smart traffic management, whereby, but this thing has been used. I don't know if it's the one that is used on traffic lights, whereby you have a very good systematic that works with, maybe, I don't know, Google Maps or something. You know how you open your Google Maps and you can see how much traffic is and how long it's going to take you to pass by that place. So the smart traffic system is where the Google Maps detects that there are like 5 minutes here, but there are roads here that I can open, and these cars pass and reduce on the amount of time that these lights sort of like release and then come red, and then release and then come red. That smart traffic system, I don't know how it works, but yeah, it says that thing can sort of like help to reduce traffic according to how many roads that can direct cars to whichever directions they are going. And then the other things that they just say, like diversification of the economy, whereby you, let me say, what brings people to town mostly? They come to buy things, maybe sell things. So you diversify the economy, and you're like, Kale, if you want to buy anything that has to do with clothing, we're allocating all of that to go to, let me say, Kawempe. If you want to buy anything that has to do with home appliances and stuff like that, you should go to Namamve. That's where we're allocating all of that stuff. Any market that has to do with home appliances, Namamve. Anything like, okay, they sort of like put certain things to certain areas so that people do not have to travel to town to sell most of these things, or to go to town to buy most of these things. But of course, all of these things can come from a long time of planning. It cannot just come like from within like one day or so. But yeah, mostly express highways, that's one thing to solve the problem. Mass transit systems, whereby you create roads or you create a way to transport groups of people in a huge number that a person may be discouraged to use their cars. And also maybe taxing these in motoka z'obuyonjo. You tax them so that they don't have to, like, I mean, if I don't have to drive to go to the town and I have to pay to use my car, I mean, these avenues are being used by New York or something like that. So we can copy from other cities and maybe fix this problem. But if it's not that, I don't know. What do you think? Put down your suggestion below. How do you think this whole traffic road system can be solved? How do you think the boda issue can be also solved? Taxi issues can be also solved? I mean, they just banned them from operating in Kampala, and if you're going to operate in there, you need to have a stage or something like that. But I don't know if they have allocated routes in a way. So yeah, what do you think? Put your comments down below. Thank you for watching, and if you like the video, please subscribe, and see you in the next one. Peace.